remote controller, and it's sort of around the idea if you had a like a remote controller that could control humanity with the click of a button, sort of what would happen. With a remote controller, I'll revoke the vote holders, only shoulder upon which they can lean. See, to be the moulder of rock, you must first smoulder the boulder. Too much direct heat will do nothing but scalder the skin now. A crown is all that separates the king from the crowd. Even his next of kin aren't allowed to be as proud. Their chair not as large and their voice not as loud. Yet by their own hand a field will never be ploughed, and their bodies never weakened by famine or the drought. Pros and cons, a show not as rights and wrongs, just different names, a lucky side section of a river or a billabong, a Mussolini or Mao Zedong. Because if a right and left were just sides of the body, we may start to see light on the concept of equality, the opposite of a monopoly where no one man's ideology is atop of the other. And gone would be the novelty of having sovereignty over a colony where the aristocracy creates the policy and properly makes a mockery of democracy. But if I could push mute, I would truly be you. A new thing to see, people do instead of speak. A metamorphosis occurs, my metatarsals begin to burn, a pain normally reserved for the tongue. And so you formally observe the enormity it deserves, no longer stung by the songs unsung. Instead the foot, it's raised to the next rung, yo. Tarpaulins are turned into bungalows. The mansions, they don't crumble, though their expansion happens somehow, bro. And if inside they do still dwell, because they've decided not to sell, who am I to deny their right to a pedestal in hell? It's commendable they've excelled. Whether earned or given, they have learned or been privileged. The only evidence we have is the visual image. None of this fictional gibberish, the unpredictable syllables of bullshit. Just actions to rely on. Your eyes won't lie, son, but ears, they can be deceiving. Take confidence that what you see is all you need believing. But if I could turn up the brightness, what a delight for the rest of yous. Sight enhanced, the time is prime for advancement. Edges no longer darken, senses sharpen, no need to bargain for a pardon. One can step forward knowing that no harm and calmly discard arms, and to their one true father in harmony raise arms. Understand a man who reads the Quran, as he in turn begins to learn the meaning behind Psalms. Now qualms are sorted, minus the carnage of colliding armies. And transparency replaces walls and floors are littered with spent cartridges, parts of cartilage and blood from burst arteries. Instead starts the bartering for peace. And conflict ceases and remains are only in the memories of when we were enemies. Optically enhanced anarchy has been given a new lease. It's chaos with a vision, so embrace the decision and break from tradition. You're in the high definition position for viewing life's climax. And fuck, I'd like to try that. But if I could hit fast forward, would our past be rewarded? Or all good deeds previously achieved just be ignored? Maybe to settle the score and see order restored, the gap skipped quickly would need to remain history, both injuries and victories. Because if you could skip to the result, how do you know it's going to be positive? A land in revolt and its citizens held as hostages, and you as the controller had left it to be autonomous, so brains haven't changed, it's still just dominance by the incompetent. A bottomless conference of pompous, self-proclaimed prophets who should suffer loss of consciousness through the squashing of their esophagus. It's preposterous and a lot to ask, it'll cost your ass, but maybe take the chance and stand up to the brass. Because to be prosperous, you must remain an optimist. Honest but confident, modest but cognitive, using knowledgeable logic to think so you can bring the impossible back from the brink. Because to conquer all and be indomitable, you must stand tall and make the hard call. Thank you.